everybody, and thank you for joining us at this Your Overseas Home webinar, Buying in Spain, Let's Talk Visas, Residency and Other Relocation Essentials. My name is Christopher Nye and I am Senior Editor at Your Overseas Home and Spain Property Guides. It's great to have you all with us, whether you're watching live or catching up on demand. Now, I've been writing about buying in Spain for just over 20 years, and for most of that time, I've known Raquel Perez from Perez Legal Group, and I know that she's helped many people buy properties in Spain before Brexit, and she has now particularly expert at helping us get those pesky visas that we need these days. So why don't we start off by Raquel? Why don't you introduce yourself and your company?
Of course. Thank you, Chris. Well, good afternoon to everyone. As I've been 28 years representing clients buying properties in Spain, in any part of Spain. Since Brexit, we specialized on relocating clients to Spain, helping them to for the application of the visa, becoming resident. And we are not only lawyers, we are also chartered accountants. And the idea was to concentrate all the services under the same roof. So we provide chartered accountant services, legal conveyance for property purchase, application of NI number, application of residence permits, private health care, home insurance, Spanish will, inheritance process. We cover absolutely everything, and that's the idea of providing a comprehensive service, especially for all those who are relocating to Spain. They need all these services in order to conclude all the steps.
Fantastic. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to do it as a Q&A. So I'm going to ask Raquel questions, and but let's not just have my questions. We particularly want to hear your questions too. So please put them in the box on the right hand side, and just to get a bit of interaction going, why don't you just put in why don't you just put in the questions tab, whether you're going to get whether you're thinking that you might get a retirement visa, or whether you're going to get a working visa, or whether you don't need any visa at all, and then I'll just get some sort of idea of what you're particularly interested in. So just chuck those into the questions tab. Any questions that we don't get answered, we're going to put to Raquel, and she will hopefully get back to you afterwards. So we're focused very much on relocation, visas, that kind of thing. But the question that a lot of people don't know, do I need a visa to actually just buy a property in Spain?
No, absolutely not. You can buy, the procedure of buying a property in Spain has not changed for resident or not residents. So your status does not really interfere on buying a property in Spain. Actually, the process is exactly the same. You can remain non-resident. So in other words, you can buy the property as tourist. The process is exactly the same for residents and non-residents. The costs associated to the purchase are exactly the same. So nothing changed whether you are applying for the residential permit, which means that the visa is the first part of the residential permit. And so the visa is only the channel to become resident. But answering the question, no, it does not change at all. The process, the costs implicated, the time frame of completion, nothing changed. There's no difference. You don't need it. You don't need any visa.
Excellent. Right. Now, and let's just deal, while we're talking about property, with the golden visa. What's the situation with that at the moment?
Well, the golden visa, it was announced that it was going to be abolished by the present government, and it was announced a couple of months ago now, more or less. We are still applying for golden visa for clients. So at the moment, nothing has happened. So that's the situation for the golden visa. All of those who wants to apply for the golden visa, they can do it. as I said, we are still applying for a golden visa for clients, and it's active, it's working. You can obviously you have to complete on the property purchase, which property purchase price has to be a minimum of 500,000 euros. Or all those who already bought a property after 2013, they still can apply. So the law is still there. The applications are still confirmed and accepted. So until the government decides to stop it 100%.
Fantastic. Okay, now we've got, I would say, looking at people's answers, that we're roughly 2 to 1 getting a retirement visa. So mainly retirement visas, also known as the non-lucrative visas, of course. But there's some quite interesting ones, such as people where there's a couple where one is retired and one is working. So hopefully we'll get into all that as we go through. So what's the most popular visa? Is that your experience? What are the most popular visas that people are going for?
The most popular visa is the non-lucrative visa, called non-working visa, depending on the consulate. Consulate now diverted into an organization called BLS for the applications of the visas. But the most popular one are the non-lucrative visa, non-working visas, exactly the same one. The documents required for the application of the non-lucrative visa are the criminal record, which should be applied in the website ACRO, GP certificate confirming that the applicant has no any dangerous health issue or illness. Savings, you need to prove you got income, or in other words, like for example, income from a property. You got, for example, 3 or 4 properties, and you have them rented. You can prove you got income from rentals, or savings, preferably in a Spanish bank account, because it gets less complicated and less expensive. Then the forms, yes, as well. And if a married couple is applying together, then marriage certificate, to be also apostilled. There are 3 documents that they need to be apostilled by the Commonwealth. We provide as well where the documents have to be apostilled, because we have the originals of the documents needs to be sent. Are the marriage certificate, GP certificate, and criminal record. These 3 documents, they need apostilled and also translated into Spanish. If the savings are being proved by an English bank, also they need to be translated into Spanish by a strong translator. The GP certificate, if the certificate is provided by an English GP, the English GP has to be also registered with the Commonwealth. So that has to be also watched. And that's mainly the documentation and the requirements for the non-lucrative visa, non-working visa. Out of records, in our experience, because so far this year we have applied on behalf of clients, guiding them throughout the process, because they are the one who has to go in person to the Spanish consulate, to the BLS center. We have been applying so far this year exactly 624 non-lucrative visa, helping clients to do it. You cannot choose where to apply, depending on on your domicile. Where you are domiciled, you belong to one consulate or the other. So it's not like, oh, I choose Manchester to apply for my visa, or I choose London. No, you cannot choose. Depending on where you live, where you are domiciled, you will be actually required to demonstrate your address with a utility bill, council tax bill, in order to prove your where are you and which country you are. But that basically the documents and the information that are requested. Also, a part of all the documents I mentioned, they will request private healthcare. If you don't qualify, if you qualify for the S1 form, it's another possibility. So if you are older than 65, you can apply for the S1 form, in the National Healthcare Center. It's called a department, overseas department. If you are older than 65. But there's one thing that people need to know, that if you apply for this one form, it means that you will not be able to have national health care in the UK and Spain at the same time. It's like you swap it. You swap the national health care in England for Spain. I normally advise to get private health care if clients can afford it, simply because national health care in Spain, it happens the same as in the UK. They are overcrowded. So if you need a scan, if you need a test, it takes months that they call you for, as I said, for a test or a scan. So the private healthcare, it's very different to the UK. Private healthcare is not expensive; it's quite affordable. You have a fixed fee per year. True that special conditions or pre-existing medical conditions will not be included, but the difference in Spain is that if you need prescription from the doctor, they still will provide it, even though the pre-existing medical conditions are not included. But they will provide the prescription for any scan, any test, any treatment you need, in order to cover, or in order to go to the pharmacy and buy your medication or continue your checks and for your existing medical conditions.
Okay, right. So we covered quite a lot there. I'm just going to drill down into some of those points you made. So firstly, when you started off, I started thinking, hang on, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Apple's still this, and so just to be clear, you can do all that for me, the translations, all that stuff.
We will guide the applicant throughout the whole process. For example, a criminal record. We cannot obtain the criminal record on behalf of the client. We're not allowed to. They have to apply for it online, and there are certain and particular requirements that we're not able to do it. But we will guide the applicant throughout the whole process, every single step. So it's not difficult. At the end of the day, 3 or 4 documents that they need to be gathered. Without guidance, it's not difficult. For example,
sure. We have had a question.
Yes. For example, the Commonwealth, just to clarify, the apostille. There are certain documents that they need apostille. Yes, so we provide where the documents have to be apostilled and translating into Spanish. So we provide all this information. All they need to do is just follow our instructions, our guidance, and it's straightforward. It's not difficult.
Okay, we've had 2 questions about the police check. The first is exactly what criminal record. It's someone who's got a criminal record, and he wants to know how bad does it have to be, I suppose, is the question.
Well, I mean, obviously, criminal offense will not be. They will not approve it. If, for example, if it is a driving fine,
sure.
Something which is not really serious, they will accept it. They will approve the visa. This is something. If there is a criminal record, like the applicant has been in jail or has been condemned for certain months to go to jail, etc. I'm not the Spanish consulate approving the visa, but normally they reject it.
Okay, so if we're talking custodial sentence, that's the kind of thing that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of people are asking if one of a couple has got an Irish or an EU passport, can I come too? Basically, is the answer. Is the question.
If one of the applicants, it's a European passport holder. In this case, your question Irish. Then the other half does not need to apply for a visa. It can come straight to Spain and apply from here. It's a different procedure, and then the application takes completely a different route. They have to be, I mean, for approval, they say facto couple, but in our experience, with our applications, they normally, the officers in the police station normally request they are married or they are in civil partnership for approval. We can apply if they are partners, proving that they have been living together for a certain number of years, etc., etc. But normally they reject that. The safest way for the application to succeed is that the European Union passport holder is married to the British or in a civil partnership, and that can be proven. In that case, there is a way of doing it. They will need, first of all, an NI number and bank account in order to start the process, which we can also help, of course. And there is a way of doing it in which they can work. They will be able to work following this route in Spain, and the application of both of them, the Irish and the British one, it will be happening from Spain, not from the UK.
Okay. Now, this isn't something that Raquel can help with, but someone has asked how you get an Irish passport. And just to confirm, it's if a grandparent was born in Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, then you can apply for an Irish passport. I mean, it's a process. If one of your parents was born in Northern Ireland or Ireland, then you can just apply for your passport. There's no issue. So it is very easy to get one. Lots and lots and lots of British people, American people, and others are able to get one. So let's go through some of the questions that have come in. Let's see. Okay, here's one. I'm a US citizen born to Spanish parents, interested in living year-round in Spain. What are my options?
Sorry, USA.
Yeah, he or she, I can't see, is American, but his parents were Spanish.
The parents were Spanish. Well, if she
Yes.
only has American passport, she has to then apply for the visa in the Spanish consulate in America.
Okay.
Obviously, if she born in Spain, well, I mean, she's American and didn't born in Spain, then she has to apply in America for the Spanish visa in the Spanish consulate in America.
Okay. How long does the Spanish visa application process typically take?
Well, the gathering of the paperwork and the application in total can take between 3 and 4 months. Depends, obviously, how active you are with gathering all the paperwork. Important, first of all, we need to apply for the NI number and open a bank account in Spain. So, but it's between 3-4 months in total.
And so, do most people? Do you get the if you're looking at a property and you're looking to retire to Spain, is it best to get the visa first and then buy the property, or buy the property and then assume that you'll get the visa?
Well, it depends on your personal situation and wishes. Are you going to buy a property anyway, or you are going to buy a property because you want to relocate to Spain? That will be the first question. Now, for the visa itself, you need to provide Spanish address. Some people, for example, they provide a provisional address and then buy after they obtain the visa because they feel they want to obtain the visa before buying a property, before committing to buy. So it depends actually with the personal situation of each applicant.
Okay. Now, thinking about working visas, I see a lot of Spanish people working in the UK, especially in the health service and especially in Zara. What about our chances of working in Spain, perhaps as a health professional? Is it quite easy to get a working visa? Do you have to go via an employer, or how does that work?
It's not easy. You have to go through an employer if you're not going to be self-employed. So if you're going to apply for a job, you need to go to an employer, and the employer will have to request your work permit before you get the visa in the Spanish consulate. It's a procedure, and it's not easy to obtain the work permit since Brexit.
Okay, so Lindsay she and her husband are still working in a UK business. but they want to live in Spain. So their wages will come from a UK business. They won't be working in Spain. Presumably they'll be working remotely. What are their options? Is that possible? They're under the age of 55.
Under the age of 55, if they can work remotely from Spain for the UK companies, yes, they can apply for the digital nomad visa. That's a good option. So the digital nomad visa means that you obtain a visa to work remotely for a UK company, and then you can become resident through the digital nomad visa. They can obtain the digital.
Is that what?
Yes. Sorry.
Is that what we call a digital nomad visa?
Yes, that's what I said. The digital nomad visa is the solution for that kind of situation.
Okay. Okay. So here's an easy one. Victoria is asking, if you don't want a visa, how long can you stay in Spain?
You can stay 90 days within 180 days. So in total, during a calendar year, you can stay in Spain 6 months.
Okay. And who's counting? I mean, is the pass? If I
not easy to count. But it's a very good calculator.
If I walk over the Pyrenees, sorry,
it's a very good calculator. There is a Schengen calculator, and you can put in and out your dates, and then they will give you the calculation. I mean, if someone is interested, they can write to me. I can send a link.
Okay, sure. Okay, Anthony. Okay, a question from Anthony. So, assuming he's got his visa and he's living in Spain for at least a few months a year, will he have to become a Spanish tax resident? He says he doesn't really want to be taxed in Spain.
Depends on the type of residential permit he's going to apply. So if he's going to apply, for example, for the, I don't know, the non-lucrative visa, for example, then therefore, in order that this residential card, remember I explained before, the visa is only the channel to become resident. The residential card is obtained after the visa. The visa is only applied once in the UK. After you got the visa, you apply for the first residential card, which is for 1 year, and it has to be renewed. So the renewal happens in Spain. You don't need any other visa ever again. So answering his question, then he will have to become tax resident in Spain, because one of the requirements in order to have the residential card renewed for another 2 years is that he has to stay in Spain for a minimum of 19 months. Otherwise, he can have complications in being renewed, in having the residential card renewed. Therefore, the law says that if you spend in Spain more than 6 months, you have to become resident to all effects. It means also tax resident.
Okay, now let's talk about health and health rules. Now, I regard myself as pretty healthy. I ran a marathon last year, but I still rattle in the morning with all the tablets I've taken. So, what happens if you've got pre-existing conditions? Maybe you've got diabetes, maybe you've got high blood pressure. Is that going to be a problem with getting insurance and getting those things covered? Are we going to be paying a fortune for those tablets? Can I even move to Spain with those kinds of health conditions?
You can perfectly move to Spain with existing health conditions. As I said, the private healthcare, you go the route of the private healthcare. The private healthcare company will not include existing medical conditions. But as I explained before, the doctor, the GP of the private healthcare in Spain will prescribe any medication you need. Medication is not expensive at all. In Spain, it's quite cheap. And they will give you any prescription for buying your treatment, for buying your medicine, and for any test you may need for your checks. For a person of 55 years old, you can pay easily per year around 1,100 euros per year. And that includes absolutely everything, any test, any doctors, any hospitals, everything is included, and it's a fixed policy. So private healthcare in Spain is quite affordable. It doesn't mean that using the private healthcare more often than normal, the policy will increase. No, increase actually with the age, but every year,
Okay.
maybe 30, 40 euros. It's quite affordable.
Okay. Now, sorry, just going through these questions as we. Can you, further question? Can you explain the digital nomad visa in a bit more detail? So, if like many of our readers, we've reached an age where viewers, we reached an age where we can do work from home quite a lot, perhaps only do 2 or 3 days a week. Is it best to apply for a digital nomad visa in that case, or does one not really need it if you're almost fully retired?
If you're going to continue working and you are allowed to work remotely, it's the only option you've got, the digital nomad visa. The requirements will be, well, you can apply as an employee of a UK company or as a self-employed, having your own company. Yeah, you've got the two options. Normally, the standard documents, obviously, we have to really reply to any particular questions the person has. But generally speaking, they have to have a letter from the employer, from the UK company, confirming they authorize the employee to work remotely. They need to demonstrate there is a continuous employment relationship of at least 3 months for which the applicant is working remotely. The company that with which the digital nomad visa has a relation must have been operating in the market for at least 1 year. Also, they will request academic or professional profile of the applicant as well. And they will also request possession of sufficient economic means. So they have to, the exact amount is more or less 25,000 euros in savings or salary per year. In addition to that, they will have to submit the general standard documents, a criminal record with a minimum validity of 90 days. Well, it has to be for the last 5 years, a criminal record. Also, they will have to have private healthcare or proof that the company is paying for the employee national insurance in the UK, and then the application forms. That will be the requirements, generally speaking. A part of that passport, okay. In a number.
So Victoria has asked, and I apologize if you've already said this, but I may have been going through the questions when you did. If we get a non-lucrative visa, is there a minimum amount of time we have to stay in Spain per year?
9 to 10 months.
Sorry?
Between 9 and 10 months, you have to stay in Spain during the calendar year in order to be renewed.
Okay.
So
now,
because when we apply for the renewal, they will request your full copy of passport. They will check all the stamps, or they can go deeper into your application and check how many entries and out of the country you've got. So it can be checked by the police.
Okay. Simon has asked, does having a house to sell in the UK, it's on the market, it's worth £650,000. Does that count as money in the bank?
No.
No.
It's not.
You've answered your own question there.
It's not classified as income or savings. Once they sell the house and cash the money, obviously that counts as savings, and therefore they can prove it. The money they receive from the sale, they can prove it as savings for the application of the visa.
Okay. Caroline has asked, if you were self-employed in the UK, presumably now you're retired, what documentation do you need to prove your self-employment is finished?
P45.
Okay, that's a nice easy. We have actually reached the end of our time. But we have got lots more questions. So if you've got another couple of minutes, one from Rada: how much money must be deposited in the Spanish bank account?
For one person? Is the question for
well,
one?
Let's have both.
A married couple, minimum 35,000 euros. And they need to get a bank letter confirming the savings.
Okay, and suppose, what about being independent with you? I mean, a lot of people, since we all live so long these days, they might be retired, but bringing an elderly relative with them, perhaps. So, how much does one have to allow extra for, say, if you're retired, your wife is retired, and you're bringing your mother as well?
27,000 euros.
Okay, right.
That's per person. Married couple, 35,000. And normally, I would like to clarify this because I think it's important. Normally, when you apply for the non-lucrative visa, the non-working visa, and you are younger than 65, they normally, it's not listed, but they are normally, I got experience, are requesting a P45 confirming you're not working in the UK.
Okay, excellent. Right. That is all we've got time for. So thank you very much, Raquel, for all your really insightful tips and advice.
See, there are many details. And obviously every personal situation is different to the other, but they can always write to me to the email that appears in the screen, and I will be very pleased to reply any question.
Yeah, if you're viewing and you hold your camera phone up to that code there, you'll get all the details that you need straight onto your mobile phone if you're not using it already. You will be sent a recording of it so you can watch again, and do tune into our other webinars, because we cover this kind of thing often, and Raquel will often be talking to us. So we do really strongly recommend that you contact Perez Legal Group to discuss your requirements in detail. So I think that's it. So thank you again, Raquel. Thank you to those who have watched. And if you found this information helpful, do please leave us a review on Trustpilot. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Raquel, and thank you to our viewers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.